I'm very excited to present the next speakers. It's two people at once because these two people have written two full books about the ways that companies can support their employees as they become parents, and as employees as parents, parents as employees, both. Why not both? So I'm very excited to hear what they have for us. Oh, you can't see, but I can see. I'm very excited. It's a cute cover. Please welcome Anna Mackenzie and Amanda Munday.
So I'm Amanda, and this is Anna Mackenzie, and together with Nora Jenkins Townsend, who is at home with her teeny little baby, we are the authors of the Parenting Playbook. And while we're not going to read you the playbook tonight, although we do love story time, Kamal's story is the one we want to highlight tonight, we are going to tell you a bit about how work has changed.
Just going to give you a minute to read it. So, she really nails it, doesn't she? She's talking about the fact that the workplace was created when only men were in the workplace. This quote from Cindy Gallup, a very smart lady, explains that these structures were created for a world that no longer exists. And people accept them and they say, well, that's just the way it is. But we're here to talk to you today about how these are structures that we made, and so we also have the power to change them.
And we all know that devil's advocate. So we know the person in the room that starts with the but. And so tonight who we want to talk to is the non-parents in the room. And so while it's the Parenting Playbook, and parents, we love you, you can take a nap. You're probably tired. I have a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old. I'm exhausted. I want a nap. What we want to do is talk to parents in the room because non-parents in the room. And specifically, I want to highlight the work of Anna, because Anna, although she gets asked all the time when she's due, is in fact not a parent. And yet she wrote the Parenting Playbook. And so Anna is our ally as a non-parent in tech, telling employers that in fact you can support parents even if you have not created one of those tiny humans.
Yeah, so we're not looking for praise tonight, we're not looking for high fives, but we are trying to challenge your belief about the structure of the workplace. So let's get into it. Where are all the women in tech? In this room.
They're in this room.
Just kidding. So that's what people ask all the time, but really what we want to do is change the question, and what we're asking is, when will we see that supporting parents is the key to keeping women in the workplace? The way we see it, the fact that some of your employees are parents or thinking about becoming parents and you accommodating them isn't super progressive. It just makes sense. It's good for business. And the existing structure isn't working. We've innovated in every other way in terms of the way that we work, except for our policies. And so it's time for an upgrade. It's time to move past fax machines in the office, I hope. And it's time to innovate on our approach to policies as well. So on that note, it's time to upgrade your fax machine.
We know that we've, sorry, I cut you off on my own.
Okay.
Go ahead. That's why there can't be two of us. We have to be over.
To give you a better idea of what it's like to be a parent in the current ecosystem, I will present to you this quote and give you some time to read it. See, whether it's intentional or it's just an oversight because you don't have any policies in place to avoid situations like this, you could inadvertently derail someone's career.
And we should probably back up a bit and tell you that this quote came from the Parenting Playbook, which is a resource that we created for free by interviewing parents in Toronto, in this city, who work for the tech companies you know, the ones that we lust over, the ones at the bars that we talk about, the ones that our colleagues and our bosses and our friends work at. This is local and it's happening here.
But it's not just the leadership policies that have to change, Amanda. Like we said in the beginning, We're not talking to the founders tonight. We're actually talking to everyone. We're talking to the non-parents as well. We're talking to the coworkers. We're talking to the employees. So don't think that this doesn't apply to you because you're not a parent and you're not a founder. If you work with parents, then there are changes you can make today to make things more inclusive and a better working environment for everyone.
So there's a couple rules that we live by, and as we were writing the Parenting Playbook, we had a lot of conversations about what are our values, what's important, what needs to be included. And one thing that is now a rule that we live by is that either you explicitly take a stand on what your values are, or your actions are implicitly stating your values for you. That means it's time to act.
We're obviously not the first people to say this. It's true of race relations, it's true of sexual harassment, it's true of bullying. If you do nothing, then nothing changes.
And this means you non-parent, you employee, you wonderful person who brings a coffee to your colleagues, who checks in the morning, you have an opportunity to support parents at work.
Yes, parents need more support from their employers, but they also need more support from you. And the good news is that you have the power to do that. Together, we can create a new possibility for the workplace that not only makes room for parents to go on leave, but makes room for them when they come back. You see, when people come back from leave, they still have kids. They have these tiny humans that they have to take care of, and a lot of the time we act like they don't.
They don't just poof and go away, right? It's kind of a for life sort of job. I saw a tweet the other day that was like, man, this parenting thing, it's all the time, eh? And it's true. They're always there.
So let's get into how we can support them.
The first one, millennials are not babies. They're having babies. We need to stop saying kids these days. Nora, our co-author in the Parenting Playbook, calls this out on Twitter all the time. Why are we writing Forbes articles talking about the kids in the workplace? The kids are birthing the kids. We need to stop treating them like they're babies, and we need to build a support plan. There are other groups that are included, such as, Anna?
Spoiler alert, it's dads too. Dads love their babies too. And they want to spend time with them. Great parental support means normalizing dad as primary caregiver. It means it's not just mothers, it's not just heteros. There's a million paths to parenthood.
On that note, we want to consider all of the factors that go into making those tiny humans or the babies. We want to consider all the factors that are involved in making a baby, including the financial strain of IVF, the emotional support of giving birth, and the burden of childcare. There are a ton of factors related to having a baby, and so putting the onus just on mothers or just on parents in the workforce is an incredible burden on them. While we're on the topic of inclusivity and intersectionality, we want to call out that we recognize that we want to acknowledge our privilege as two white women in the room who are standing here before you and telling you that you can do better. We recognize this privilege and we want to acknowledge it tonight.
And we know that we don't know what it's like to be you, but we are trying to make it better for all parents, no matter what their path to parenthood is, and we're committed to that. So the point is, if we don't support childcare, we can't support any parents in the workplace, doesn't matter what type of parent you are. And I don't just mean top of, I mean that you have to consider that the people that you work with are parents. So let's get into some more hard facts and just prepare yourselves for this slide.
I like to call this fast math and hard truths. So, here's some fast math. The average monthly cost per child per month in the city of Toronto is $2,200. The average cost for a toddler in childcare in this city of Toronto is $1,700 per month. If you're a family, you probably need a 2-bedroom condo in the city. That'll run you $2,500 a month. And if you're a dev, as many of us are in this room, you might be making after tax around $6,000 per month, or roughly the median salary of $90,000 per year, which, by the way, is a pretty good salary. So if you add all this up, childcare for a 3-year-old and an infant, or a child who's 12 months old, and rent, you've lost $420 before you spend a single dollar on food or transit.
Let's let that sink in. Everyone is broke.
Broke.
But Anna, is it just about money? You're all
right.
quietly saying to yourself.
I was shocked when I hate these numbers. Is it all about money, Anna?
No, it's not just about money. It's actually also about how you support people in the workplace. So I'm going to give you a second to read this quote as well. This one gives me chills. Again, reminder that this is from real parents in real Toronto that we interviewed.
It wasn't hard to get quotes.
Yeah.
We put it out on Twitter and we were overwhelmed.
So as you can see, this individual's struggle was about her environment, and it's environments like this that causes women to leave. And one of the reasons we've included quotes like this is to give you an access point into what it's actually like for people.
Women are leaving the workforce because of all of these reasons. The high cost of childcare, the lack of spaces, and the years-long waiting lists, which I didn't even include in the fast math. No family support in urban centers. When we move into this urban centers, but our family are in the outskirts, and the suburbs are outside of it, how can we call in our family support? I'm sure many of us in this room have heard they didn't get the job because they're in the, quote, danger years. They've been told to prove themselves again after they came back from leave. There was lack of emotional support in balancing work and family, the lack of career progression, and because there's children in the room, I'm gonna say the cost of childcare in the city, which is out of control.
So, women's employment is very closely tied to parental leave policies. Not supporting childcare is a critical barrier to women making it to C-suite positions.
If we want to improve recruitment, if we want to hire top talent, and if we want to be this all-star city, we need to start to support our sisters, and we need to start building support plans that support parents and families. The issues that we mentioned on the previous slide have affected me, almost all of them, and I'm not unique, and my story is not unique.
Bad policies most negatively impact the primary caregiver's career, who are typically women. So that's why we're talking about this on International Women's Day. Fake International Women's Day.
Almost.
Almost. But on a lighter note, as we've alluded to many times during this presentation, there are lots of ways we can improve the experience for parents in the workplace and get rid of the archaic system and make the world better.
What ways, Anna?
So glad you asked.
Are you ready? We're gonna cut staff socials from 7 to 9 p.m. That's bedtime.
We're gonna have flexible work policies.
Part-time return from mat leave.
Lactation room.
Cut those meetings at 4:30. We have to pick our kids up from school.
Cut the back-to-back meetings with no option to pump.
How about a day off for a kid's birthday?
And many other suggestions that, again, are like very low cost and sometimes just behavioral things you can do that you can find in the Parenting Playbook that you can download for free.
So the other rule that we live by is this idea of a life of abundance versus a life of scarcity. Supporting one group doesn't mean not supporting another. The feedback that we hear every time we give a talk about the Parenting Playbook is that childcare is too expensive. It's too expensive to support parents in tech. Most of the reasons, or most of the answers and the ideas that we have in the Parenting Playbook are free. And in fact, the Parenting Playbook itself is free. You could download it tonight.
You know, a world of service is a world that I want to live in. And I think that when you create the possibility of making things better for some, you end up making it better for all. And a lot of people ask me why I do this work when I'm not a parent. So I will try to explain it to you with a story. I met this woman the other day, last week, and she was looking at my LinkedIn, and she said, okay, I see you've done a lot of HR work and parental leave. I'm guessing mom. I didn't correct her. I love moms. And then she said, so I assume you're not ready to take it to the next level. And what's interesting about that interaction is that she's a woman with no kids. And she thought that because of my kids, that I didn't want to make it to a director level. And so there's this bias, right? There's this bias that exists for everyone if they're perceived to be a parent. And I just think it's so hard to be a parent. And there isn't enough space in the workplace to talk about it, or even to understand or share that understanding with people unless you're talking to non-parents, or to parents, sorry. And so I will continue to do this work, and I will continue to try to make it better for everyone, regardless of if I am a parent or not.
Here's the thing though, right? Stories like Anna's are not unique. They're not rare at all. But what is rare is being able to talk about guilt and about the struggles of motherhood. We'd really like this to change, and so we want you to download the Parenting Playbook tonight for free. We hope you didn't take notes.
You get a playbook. You get a playbook. You get a... No, seriously, you can go and you can download it and you can peruse it at your leisure.
Quick, look under your chairs. Just kidding. Really, we've got one final takeaway, and that is that current state is not forever. Yes, we ride it hard. We ride it hard because things are hard. But it doesn't mean that we can't change it. There is no authoritative voice on how to have your colleagues back. It's a good thing for everyone. Like we mentioned in the beginning, the structure was designed in a way that did not take into consideration family and childcare, but that doesn't mean that it has to stay that way. We can change it. We can make things better for the tiny little humans who come after us.
This is a good transition to this next slide. In the words of famous philosopher, you may have heard of her, GTA or Rupi Kaur, I'll leave you with her poem titled Legacy. I stand on the sacrifices of 1 million women before me, thinking, what can I do to make this mountain taller so the women after me can see farther?
Thank you.